Back in January, I gave my thoughts to the first episode of The Last of Us TV show. I was still actively in college and doing my foundation year at that point as well. I got to episode 3 after that video, and I wasn't in a good place. It broke me. The relationship was well done, between Frank and Bill, as played by Murray Bartlett and Nick Offerman, respectively. But something about the whole, the end of the world is happening, everything's really bad, and some horrible disease is what happens. Some people have said possibly MS with how it is, but I don't know. I'm not qualified to make that judgment. But the other day, well, from this a few weeks ago perhaps, we were sat there, what should we watch? And I went, do you fancy it, to Amy? Like, give it a go. And we watched through it all. I got past episode 3. And boy, it didn't get any lighter from there. I'd forgotten much of the game beyond that point. And there were moments that I was like, ow, that hurt. But overall, I, dare I say, enjoyed the series. That's not in small part to the amazing writing, the amazing direction, the amazing cinematography, and the amazing acting. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey really, really excelled. And obviously they carried it. But it was very interesting seeing Troy Baker as James, obviously very antagonistic compared to voicing Joel in the game. But it worked. I enjoyed that. And the wonderful, loop, I guess, of existence. The motion and voice actor for Ellie, Ashley Johnson, who I know very well through Critical Role and other works, playing Ellie's mother. I love that. That works so well. That particular element, I believe, was fleshed out in comics. I haven't read it. At this point, I still haven't completed the game. I tried again, actually, even earlier today, and because I've seen people play through it, I already know where it's going to go, and I'm not big on forced stealth. I know arguably you can go in a bit guns blazing, but you are going to struggle at some point, and there's a couple of moments where stealth dropped, I panicked, I was like, I need a gun, I haven't got my gun selected, and I got jumped. It's not something that works for me. My anxiety does not like this. So it's probably not something I'll be able to complete, but at least now I have a version of the story. I've never seen someone play the Left Behind DLC, and I'm glad that I now know the story of that fully. I've seen it in a form. But yeah, this series was such a joy, and I don't know if I said it in, it was months ago now, it was January. I don't know if I said it in that video about the Tess situation and the fact that we couldn't get Annie Wersching to play Tess because she sadly passed. She was also the Borg Queen in the Season 2 of Picard, one of the good things to come out of that. But that's also souring my ability to play through the game. I mean, I've got past that point now. I'm actually on the way to see Bill. But those moments with Tess just cut a little because she's kind of modelled in the game, modelled facially on Annie Wersching as well, and it's really weird to me. But this was a good series. I mean, they did say that it's not going to be... Season 2 is not going to be the entirety of Part 2. There's too much stuff to do before they can do that. They've got a plan, but it's not going to be that quick, done, over. I'm happy to see what's coming down the line. I mean, I've never seen anyone play Part 2. I know it was much maligned, and maybe they'll right some of the wrongs that people had with that. I think one of the big things, and this is a spoiler for Part 2 that I'm aware of, if you don't want to know about this, you've not played it or seen it played, and you really just want to go completely blind, this is your last moment to get no spoilers for Last of Us Part 2, the game. So Joel apparently dies quite early on, and the relationship, on screen between Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey does so much heavy lifting for the show. I'm not saying it's bad, but without them two, it would not work. So choosing to get rid of one of your principal leads is not a good move. And I really hope we're going to perhaps have a few seasons of this is what happens between Part 1 and Part 2. Sort of set those things up a lot more, and then maybe in the last season we'll be a much more willing to accept if Joel has to die, but we will hopefully not have to have too long where he's not present. I did also want to give a little shout out that I never noticed. I saw it on a video, I can't remember which, but where Laura Bailey was actually in the last episode with the Doctor. She had like full gown on. All you could see was her eyes, which is why I didn't catch it. I don't feel so bad for not catching that one. But yeah, she does have a quick cameo, and she plays, is it Abby, I think? Or did at least some of the capture or something for Abby in part 2. Again, not really that familiar with it. But yeah, this is a really good series. It's, it does what it needs to. It hits the beats. There are changes from the game, of course, because it's a different medium, so sort of the whole Kansas City thing. But there's also things that are definitely the same, or very slightly different, but at least close enough. And maybe it's one of those things. Maybe I'll just play it in little bursts. Maybe I'll get a little bit further on next time. So maybe this is how I will enjoy The Last of Us as a franchise, and I'm fine with that. But let me know what you thought, both of the series and the games. Are you one of those strange people, according to the internet, who like part 2? Because apparently everyone else hated it. Again, I don't know. But thank you very much for letting me talk about this, and until next time, as always, take care. What are you looking at?